Hello everyone, this is VJose32 back with another edition of What's on Deck, what's kind of up in the world of playing cards and what's, come up on Kickstarter. We'll look at that in a minute. But first, this is the first time I've ever done this, maybe the first time I'll ever have to do this. I have to give you a warning with this video. There's going to be some coarse language and there's going to be some sexually explicit images coming up as well. Nothing too explicit, but definitely sexual. So let's get on to it. First of all, I gotta remind you about the Pitman playing cards on Kickstarter from Elephant Playing Cards. It's currently about 54% funded. It needs some more funding. There's 16 days to go to get funded, so let's get there. Let's do it. It's a good project. Good decks. They definitely deserve it. So let's get it done. And I also want to remind you about the Bicycle Vintage Royals from Collectible Playing Cards, one of my channel sponsors. It is funded. They still have 28 days to go, lots of time to pick it up. Only 1,100 being produced, so it's fairly limited, so it might be best to get on this before, they sell out. And they are numbered on the seals as well. Very nice. Now, on to Kickstarter. This is one of the ones I want to warn you about. As you can see, it is a deck of cards, but it's anything but ordinary as standard. They have decided to not have any standard suits and 0 pips. It's from a Canadian, from Major Key Studios, and I guess they had a kind of a weird sense of humor in Halifax. It's the Rude playing cards. So, what you got, instead of they're just black faces with white writing. Very much a typography deck. The suits are as follows. Instead of spades, they got assholes. Instead of hearts, they got fuckers. Instead of clubs, they got dicks. And instead of diamonds, they got wankers. Now, you gotta say that one with a British accent. Wankers. It's just weird. And then the back design just says Rude, and for some reason they decided to put premium playing cards on the bottom. Rude would have been enough. Like I said, definitely not your standard, ordinary deck of cards, far from it. It's not exactly usable. Oh yeah, the Joker just says Joker on it, go figure. It's not very usable. I mean, people are used to playing cards with, your standard suits. It's not very family friendly or kid friendly. It's not good for Magic. It's not good. Collectors aren't going to be really interested. I know I'm not, as a collector. And like poker players and card players aren't going to be interested either. It's maybe good for drinking games or party games, but those don't usually do very well on Kickstarter. And here's their grand plan on how they came up with this wonderful design. It's just weird. No idea who's going to be producing it, although it's going to be produced in the US. Actually, it might be produced in Canada. It doesn't even say specifically who's producing it. They're thinking about a Canadian printer because of the current currency value, exchange rates, and costs. They got to go with $2,200 Canadian, which is not very much in American. I can tell you that much. It's like $1,000 American. It's ridiculous. The exchange rates right now. I recommend, if you're going to do a project, find out your costs beforehand. Figure out who you're going to produce it with, what it's going to cost to ship, packaging, anything else you want to add on, then do a project. You can't just throw out a random number, especially with the exchange rates the way they are. Hope it funds, and then you go, oh crap, I don't have enough money. It just not very well planned. Moving along, onto a more family-friendly fare. We got the Bicycle Aglow. Aglow 2.0 as it's known. There's a red deck and a blue deck to be USB-C printed. I should mention the Rude is 14% funded with 27 days to go. I don't think it's going to happen just based on what it is. This one is 59% funded with 22 days to go actually, and it should happen. It says they're going to use ultraviolet inks, and this, saying it's going to be similar to the Tragic Royalties. We'll see. What they're showing me in these images looks more like the Cosmic Lanes decks from Midnight Cards, which I don't know if USBC could do anything like that. But we'll give them the benefit of the doubt. Here we see what they've done with the court cards. They've improved them. It does look a lot better, a lot nicer colors and indexes and everything. But still, it's very simple. And they say it's good for all this stuff. Magic tricks, especially under a black light. Cardistry, party and drinking games, impressing your friends, camping, gift giving, road trips, card collectors, hey, that's me, kids, festivals, and retail. Trying to get resellers to buy them, obviously. So you see the back design's pretty nice. Pretty thin on the borders too, which is good. This is from 421 Creations, by the way. They're super stellar card backs, they call them. The jokers are nice and colorful and fun. And then you see the cards. All the aces are basically the same. And you'll see all the cards are basically the same. The kings are the same. Queens are the same. Jacks are the same. They got like a red-pink color for the hearts. Green for the clubs. Purple for the diamonds. And blue for the spades, which I do like a 4-color deck if it's done right. And you'll see, I mean, it all kind of works. Yeah, the tens all got the pips the same way, and the twos got the pips the same way, and then the kings all the same. So it kind of works. Each value has its own style, including the court cards. So even though all the jacks are the same, it's not a big deal for me. So that's that. Decent prices. Next up, we got another one that is a little bit sexual. The Tarot Witch of the Black Rose. It's funded, well funded. They only had a $5,000 goal, and they've more than doubled that. 27 days to go. This is apparently based on some kind of a comic book or a book, and they've been around for 15 years, and everyone's been saying we need to make a deck of cards. So finally they decided to do that. It's going to be produced by QPC Games. Never really heard of them. I don't expect a extremely good quality from them. You see the Queen of Hearts. That's the only card face they saw in the entire project. I think here in the background you see the back design with some black roses and stars within the rose, which is fine. And apparently it's a 52 card deck, but I guess it's tarot style. I don't know why they call it a tarot deck. It's from Jim Balint, or Ballant, however you pronounce that name. You can see the code cards. The index is pretty interesting. The Q is kind of strange, but it works. And then they had the European suits, European style suits within the pip as well, the cup inside the heart. So that's good to see that represented. It is $20 for one deck. Obviously a bit pricey, but it is I guess it's a tarot deck. I don't know. And for $35 you get a deck and a magnet set. Ooh, wow. But yeah, it's pretty pathetic that they only have the one card and the back design that they're showing in the entire deck. The back design is just really dark. I don't like it that much. And scantily clad women. They're trying to sell this deck based upon sex, apparently. And they don't sell any other cards. I don't understand that for the life of me. You want to sell a deck, you should show the deck, not just a bunch of women. But whatever. Obviously, it's a kind of interesting deck, but obviously, it's basically, here you see some of the cards, I guess, or some of the artwork on some of the other cards, the tarot cards. They're okay. I guess basically it's been funded by all the, fans of this comic book or whatever it is. Let's move along though. One last deck on Kickstarter this week. Not a lot this week on Kickstarter. Actually, second last deck. This is the first and exclusive Westward Zodiac playing card set from Firewater Entertainment, and it's not put together well in my opinion. $25,000 Australian goal, which is going to be hard to fund. I just launched this morning as far as I know, and so far they've managed to get $126 from 24 backers. Two decks, a red and a blue. They got Zodiac symbols instead of pips, but they do got standard pips in the indexes, which is good. And the court cards, just a bunch of zodiac symbols, squiggly lines, whatever, is what it is. Repeating court cards, it seems, from queen to queen at least. And jack to jack. The kings seem to be a little bit different. Or maybe I'm wrong. It's kind of strange. They're offering a bunch of decks, 50 decks, at just $2 each Australian, approximately $1.40 US. It's an excellent deal, but I think it's a mistake, a financial mistake for any project to do that. You're trying to get money from backers, not give away stuff. I mean, and that's what it is. And then you see the regular decks, the regular price is $22 Australian, $15.40 US approximately, which is on par with other Kickstarter decks, but I'm not sure this deck is on par with other Kickstarter decks. They do have stretch goals, if you can call them that, for Midnight and Midnight Roman decks and Roman decks, which I'll get to in a bit. Other decks are apparently going to be numbered, or at least they're going to have, that it's a number one version, or a number one edition deck on them, I should say. I guess. So here you see the cards. The back design is fine. Obviously, it's a one-way. But they're not bad. Not overly exciting, but not bad. Here you see the court cards and the aces. This is the first unlock. $8,000. They will unlock this, a Midnight deck, which is just a black deck, a black version of the other decks, which is fine, but then they have all the faces being the same color, no color. Kind of goes, I guess, with the theme, but it would be nice to see some color for the hearts and the diamonds at the very least. But my other problem is that's a stretch goal. They haven't even funded, and they're doing stretch goals already. Usually a stretch goal comes after the funding has happened. Oh, we hit the funding. If we hit this much money, we'll have another deck. Not, we haven't even hit the funding, but we're adding on decks already. It just seems ridiculous. 2,000 decks being produced only. No idea who's producing these, by the way. No information on that whatsoever. I tried to contact them to see if they would clarify that. They have a stretch goal of $27,000 for a tin case. At $36,000, they unlock the Roman, which is the same thing, except that the number cards have Roman numerals in the indexes. And why? I mean, that's not very usable, and I don't see why anyone would want that or care for that. Only 1,000 being produced of the red and the blue. They also have the Midnight Roman at $52,000, which they're never going to hit at this rate. I don't believe. I don't think they're even going to fund. But I mean, $52,000 for a 6 deck, and it's just a black version of the Roman numeral indexes. Again, that's not even much of a difference. It's the same thing. They just got a different index, which doesn't even seem like it's very interesting. And they even have another stretch goal for print seats, I guess the uncut seats, at $85,000. Not very well put together. No idea how they came up with these figures, why they're doing stretch goals before they even fund, why they think they can give away decks for $2 each, who's producing these, why they need a project with 6 decks that are all basically the same. I have no idea. It's not good. Let's move on to something better, though. We got the Orbit deck, 2nd edition from Chris Brown, red version. Some minor differences from the other version, the original one, which is thinner borders and I believe a different ace of spades. But everything is basically standard as far as the number cards are concerned and the court cards are concerned. But it's nice enough. It's eye-catching enough. Why not? Give it a chance. That's what I'm going to do. Here you see the ace of spades pip. Makes sense. It's a space motif. I like it. And there's the jokers. It's a space guy. It's pretty cool for what it is. Produced by USB-C. Distributed by Artiplay. And apparently it has a one-way back design. Same with the blue decks. And this one is currently 32% funded or so with 29 days to go. And the Zodiac deck is currently 0% funded with 29 days to go. So that's it for Kickstarter. We got a few more decks to talk about, including the one with the sexuality, so stay tuned. A few more things. First of all, coming soon from Passion Playing Cards, February 29th to be exact, is the Teliad deck. You see some of the artwork here. Looks pretty awesome. I'm looking forward to this one. Here you see the back design. Very nice, very striking. I love it. And I'm definitely getting this one. And this is another version, I guess. The Heron, it says. Basically, it's where human and elven, or elves, intersect orcs and dwarves. Kind of interesting idea. And here's another one. So it looks like there's going to be two versions. I like it. Very nice back design, very striking. Next up to talk about, this is not Kickstarter. This is from flyingcoffin.com. They released a gold version of their Heaven and Hell deck, which I reviewed. A silver version. Actually, I'm not sure if that's even public yet, but if not, it will be. It's one-way backs, but it's almost mirror image. It's just slightly different, I guess. And one-way faces. Basically features one half of the deck is the Heaven side, the other side is the Hell side. Only 100 produced, numbered, very limited, NPC produced. But they're pricey. It's $20 each, and then another $25 to ship one deck to me. Plus, it's US. You do the exchange rate difference, it's going to cost me like $70. So that's not going to happen, unfortunately. If they could do shipping for $10 or $15, maybe. But it's too expensive. I got the one. I'm going to stick with it. That's enough for me. Moving along. This is the one I had to warn you about. Here's me to drink. This is from, it's called the I Nudie. It's a tribute to lovers. It features Hanafuda and fusion cards, as they call them. It does have an erotic artwork, as well as floral motifs of the Hanafuda cards. There's a preview of the project, so we'll look at that. Close your eyes, children. Okay. There we go. It's from Indian Wolf Studios. And I got all sorts of information. Here you go. Sexuality right on the front of the top case. Oh boy. There's a mini deck, and then there's a poker-sized deck. You see the back design. More sexuality. I think you see some of the faces as well. Lots of loving going on. To be produced by Print Ninja, which I've never heard of, but I'm guessing the quality is going to be so-so. Foil numbering on all the decks, it looks like. And I should probably get more into this later on once it actually launches. But here you see some of the faces. Lots of floral motifs and whatnot. And that's just the mini deck. Here's the fusion deck. This one actually is a poker-sized deck with poker indexes, which is good. And basically, aces represent January, twos February, threes March, etc., etc. No idea what the kings are supposed to represent, but I don't think that's actually in a standard Hanafuda deck. If you're wondering what a Hanafuda deck is, why I don't have one yet, I never got any because it's different, but this one, even though it's got the sexuality thing going on, it interests me because it actually has poker indexes. Hanafuda are floral-themed playing cards popular in Japan, Korea, and Hawaii. It was because Japan historically banned gambling and playing cards in the early 1600s. So they created these Hanafuda decks, mini decks, so they could be concealed in case somebody shows up and you don't want them to know you're gambling or playing cards. You hide them in your hands and nothing's going on. Sounds to drinks. Eventually, cards were legalized in the 1800s in Japan. And it should be noted that Nintendo was founded in 1889 as a Hanafuda manufacturer. So there you go. That's where they started off as playing cards, Hanafuda decks. And you can see they got flowers and stuff like that on all the cards and nude people. They're floral and rich in symbolism and popular in those countries. They contain 48 flower cards plus optional jokers. I knew the edition includes 6 jokers, I guess. So perhaps no kings. 12 suits, 1 for each month of the year. 4 cards in each month. Each month has an assigned flower, like June has the peony. 4 types of cards: the brights, the tens, the ribbons, and the chafes. And each month typically has 2 valuable cards and 2 chafes. I think that's how you pronounce it. And basically it translates into flower cards. So there you go. All sorts of information. And it's interesting. I don't mind it. It's a little bit sexual. Apparently it's going to be U.S., Eurozone, and Canadian friendly, with shipping from those countries to avoid extra custom charges, which don't usually happen anyway. But that's that. Next up, I wanted to tell you about something on Illusionist. If I can find it. There it is. It's $30. It's a new gaff deck, but it's anything for its standard. It's a social deck by Soma, who's a pretty good magician. He's a FISM winner, I believe. And basically, it's all about social media. Facebook, Twitter, Instagram, and it uses that stuff. And you can see there's a picture of a cat, and then he's going to change it to something else. Apparently, it's easy to perform lots of tricks. 19 routines included, over 40 effects possible. It says if you can do a double lift, you can do this. Who needs aces finding jacks? Numbered picture cards changing places? Who cares? This is all about friend requests, hashtags, pictures, much, much more. So here you see one is holding a card. 2 people, they're in love. They're in a relationship, but you know what happens in relationships. People split up. So he does a little flip, and all of a sudden they're split up. But then he brings them back together. So all sorts of cool stuff. I think it's a good idea, especially in today's day and age. Not something that really typically that overly appeals to me, because it's just, I prefer decks that are more standardist, actual cards. But I like the idea, and you might want to check it out if you're into that kind of stuff. Printed by USB-C, so you know it's a good quality deck. Very easy, and it's okay. There is one more that I've seen from Illusionist coming soon. Hang on. Oh, this looks like it's going to be Illusionist's next deck. Kind of write-it-back style. Apparently it's from Adam Wilbur. So we'll see. It's pretty interesting. Apparently it's a one-way back too. Possibly. I don't know. We'll see. And coming apparently this week from Legends Playing Cards. Not 100% sure, but this. Latitude and Longitude Playing Cards. Very cool decks. Obviously nautical inspired. I like that. Nice artwork on the inside of the top cases. They got one that's the Latitude deck. It's sideways opening. The Longitude one is a regular style opening deck in the top. Excellent idea. It's very well thought out. And I look forward to checking them out soon. Hopefully this week on Legends Playing Cards. Last little thing to get on to is this. What's going on my channel this week. You can find out my entire schedule upcoming. I got stuff already up until March listed on here. All you have to do is go to the discussion tab on my channel, and you can see what's coming up. Coming up this week, Kings of India, Tanabra, Zuka, and Nero editions, which are orange and black. Halloween editions in January. Yay. a Black Friday deck from the Blue Crown, which is the only new original deck they actually did the entire year last year in 2015. Everything else they did was just NOCs and a new Blue Crown color. Kind of ridiculous in my opinion. And the latest decks from Art of Play and Dan and Dave, Red Wheels and Camp Cards, plus a casino deck. And the week after that, all sorts more stuff. I got stuff, like I said, up until March, and lots more still to come, keeping this channel going. And I might do some tricks in February as well, we'll see. So that's what's on deck. Stay tuned for more next week. See ya.